Welcome to Curiosity Unleashed and Time Sweeps conversations. We're at the end, can you believe it, Richard? At the end of April. So we're kind of moving into um, Beltane. We're coming up to a full moon on Friday. Uranus has gone into Gemini. Things are shifting kind of astrologically, and I think physically we can feel it. There's this funny time warp thing that I'm experiencing. Um, and we on trust. We're still talking about trust. I mean, still, I think we go through our lives learning about trust and what it means to us personally. Um, Trusting our intuition. We just kind of touched on a big step that you made. Was it yesterday, 6 years ago, that you and your wife, Angela, kind of stepped into the unknown, leaving Canada, and now you're in Mexico, or have been for a long time, um, in a different world, and there's a sense of trust. In that, but not trust to an external element. Yeah. Tell me how you feel about that.
Well, in 2020, yeah, April 28th, 2020, we had just, our house had closed in Barrie, Ontario, and we were on the road. So unfortunately, the world was just shutting down and we had no backup plan. We had no other place. We had already booked a place in across the country in British Columbia. So what we had packed in the car, that morning, as we talked about yesterday, we were on the road, and then we got the message about 4 hours down the road that everything had closed. We already knew it was. Money is being transferred in, but we kept driving across the country, and often we still have pictures. We were the only car on the road.
Wow.
Magical pictures at the time, and then we landed in a place in British Columbia, and our favorite place was a rental from a niece of mine, friend, family home, beautiful family home tucked into the mountains on a lake. I mean, this
Oh,
is what you
wow.
draw pictures from.
Yeah.
And we were there for 2 months to get ourselves, after a year of hard work of putting the house together and refurbishing the house to sell it. So getting our feet under us and
Mm.
we spent 2 years moving around British Columbia and Vancouver Island, and all gorgeous, loved every bit. And then we just decided on a whim to come to Mexico. And same date, April 28th,
Oh,
2022, we got
wow.
on a plane and came to Mexico. And again, no backup plan. We had a contact here that met us. We had a place to stay, but since then we've been still nomads, now 4 years, loving it.
Yeah.
Best decision of our lives to come here. And the biggest piece we did, and I think this is where it helped us be different, is most people have a 5 year cycle and go back.
Mm.
We were purposely uncreating our life. And that was very intentional, that we kept moving around and allowing ourselves viscerally to let go of everything we thought we needed, all the trappings we had, not trappings, but all the conditions we had of the home, the location, the familiarity that we had. We've been in so much unfamiliar territory because we were able to release all the old patterns. And that's a lot of my work, is releasing patterns. And so
Mm.
we could become somebody new. And we still are somebody new each day, because in coming here the last few months, we were here in a place called Heat. We left, said, oh, we're not going to come back here. We traveled for 4 months and come back here, and now it's a new place for us. So we keep changing inside.
Mm.
And I can't tell you how much travel does that, when you're willing to go into locations. And we spend a month, 2 months at a place. We live in the communities. I'm
Yeah.
still struggling to speak Spanish. I'm working hard to bring that up, but we're willing to learn and put ourselves in situations of learning. And again, we have been safe every day here. We've never had an issue.
Mm.
So please don't think Mexico is a bad place. We have proof, our own proof of, we've been many places. The people have been wonderful. We have done our best to speak the language with them, to engage in their language. We are guests, and we are not, here to push our weight around. We are here to live, and again, within accommodations. And the people have been wonderful with us, and we love That and we love our coffee here.
Yeah. There we go.
The point being, Michelle, that we have continually changed inside. And like I said, we left this place. So Ajic on Lake Chapala is the largest expat community in Mexico. Lovely place, lovely place. But again, it's what we don't get a chance to practice our Spanish here because it's mostly
Yeah.
English.
Yeah.
So when we left and we went to the East Coast for 4 months, and we decided to come back here because I needed to renew my passport.
Mm.
Suddenly we liked this place.
Yeah.
Suddenly we have changed, and we said, well, and my wife had said, well, we could have had this long-term rental, but I said we wouldn't be who we are if we hadn't traveled.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think traveling to me, even my kids are travelers, said, it's something about it does changes you inside. First, it gets out of your perspective, out of your routine. I think
Yeah.
that's the most important part, out of your everything you know into the unknown. Again, we're very comfortable with the unknown because we're comfortable with our intuition and we trust our perceptions and what goes on, and we're willing to navigate situations like when been on went to travel by bus and the buses have been shut down several times due to strikes on the road.
Yeah.
We just go, okay, what else is possible? So we don't freak out in that. And I think that's,
Mm.
and I'm going to go into a little story. When I see families that travel with kids
Mm.
and have traveled, the kids have seen so much flexibility and
Mm.
so much adaptability. I mean, talk about emotional intelligence when you look at and watch parents navigate, negotiate, and dialogue and how you learn to have patience and trust in yourself and deal with the uncomfortable sometimes. Sometimes you have to sit in an airport for 6 hours. I spent 24 hours in the airport when I missed my flight. Not
Yeah.
comfortable, but
Not
it's
comfortable.
it's an experience. I can talk about it.
It's definitely a
To
story.
so, but traveling creates adventure, and again, you learn about the biggest thing you learn about yourself, and that's what we're here to do. We're not here to have complacency and sameness, and
Yeah.
it's your choice, but it's how do we talked about, trusting ourselves and ourselves. So we don't give her power. We choose. We trust ourselves to do things. And what if you make a mistake?
Yeah.
Life is full of adventures, my God. Learn,
Yeah.
we spend so much time being shamed for a mistake or if it cost you money.
Mm.
If you want to live in a box, great, that's up to you. But I don't think the people living in boxes are going to listen to this podcast.
No, I
Sometimes you
can
just,
almost be very sure not.
they ain't here. Sometimes you have to understand life's a shit show and we're part of it. So, but it all comes back to an adventure because later on you go, yeah, we had all this, but you know what? We met some cool people. We had some coffees. I mean, I've met so many different people on layovers and stopovers and delays and cancellations. You end up chatting with somebody and you have incredible adventures.
Yeah. But it comes with um openness. If
Yeah.
you could do all of that while not being open to the
Oh.
experience and not experience it. And I think that's what sometimes can happen as well. When you're rushing off and you have to be at rugby practice and you're late and you don't take into account that the delay might be saving you from an accident that's gonna,
Mhm.
happen, or being stuck in a layover, the plane might, you know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
there's all these elements that we almost have to trust this intuitive feeling that we have, in a way, in a messy way as well. It's, yeah, I don't know how to express exactly what I'm trying to say, but there isn't um, a perfect way to be in handling life. I think, you know, going through the experience, um, being part of the journey comes with challenges, and the more we admit or, you know, um, express our challenging times, the more we become open to the experience of more of it. There's such a connection between us and what's going on around us. We're not separate from. from others. There's a connection, there's a wholeness in our expression in this lifetime, whether it's in nature or people or animals or, the process, if we want to put it into that kind of language. But as soon as we separate ourselves from that and become rote in the way we experience life, we have to follow, tick the boxes and do it this way, then we lose the experience.
100%, because you're right. You don't know sometimes a delay. Backstory now, many years ago, I was going to travel some people from work. I was driving to the place to book my time with the flight. I got big delays, road construction, but I was in no rush.
Yeah.
I walked into the place where the vacation office was, a travel office. No one there. Walked in, sat down. I was out of there in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If I had got there sooner, I may have been standing there for half an hour. I don't know,
Yeah.
so I just was like, cool. So, and my wife and I live with two expressions because we say, no matter what's going on, is how does it get any better than this and what else is possible?
Yeah.
And it takes the pressure off us. The curiosity has given us so many other nuances, and I think the universe is always ready to show you something when you're willing to be observant of it.
Yes, exactly. Because you align with what else is possible. You
Mhm.
align with the possibility that there are other things on the horizon.
Yeah.
Um, Even in the work that I used to do in psychological assessment, I feel that there's such a misconception of what intelligence is. And I know you mentioned it as emotional intelligence, but even cognitively,
Mhm.
we can't create more neural networks if we don't need to cope, if we don't need to accept or adapt to change. Because if we only follow the path that's been set out, then there's no need for these,
Mhm.
computers we've been granted,
Right.
So yeah. Through making life easy, we limit our own evolvement, I think.
And I think if you can verify it, you actually shrink as people who
Yeah,
stay in the same routines day after day after day, the rest of their life. The world gets smaller and smaller and
yeah,
smaller, and incapacitated to take this change on. So when you have this ability to, right, this whole development of growth, exploration, curiosity, meeting people, embracing it,
yeah,
I mean, after being on the road for 6 years, we're still as excited as ever because there's so many more places we want to go,
yeah,
and
yeah,
to Europe, to South America, and again, we're excited about it. We're so excited looking, to who's there, what's there, what can we do, and
yeah.
it's life. This is where we
Yeah.
lived our life. I mean, I laugh because we're both seniors, and yet we all the regrets seniors have. We have none of those, none.
Yeah, but because you are putting yourself out there in a way, you
Yeah.
are embracing life. This is also what kind of upsets me so much in when we grow up,
Mhm.
we are measured against others that rote learn. I'm just using it rote learn. So you are very
Mhm.
clever or intelligent if you can recite what someone else put in the book. And that doesn't make any sense. But heaven forbid that you can think outside of that and
Yeah.
create another plan or problem solve something that's a lot bigger, then you're not following the rules and therefore you are,
No. Yeah.
you don't count. So there's this misconception always that the safe thing to do is to read the right book and then do what that book says. So there's no actual involvement of us as a participant in life
Mhm.
instead of we're being told what to do or how to act or who to be or all of those things, um, and yet we get rewarded, say financially or security wise, if you do follow the script. Yeah, it's an interesting road that we've a lot of people. deny themselves embarking on because it's scary. There's a beautiful, beautiful myth, the tree of emergence, in the Native American kind of lore. And it's about these worlds that are connected through these reeds, and every time they get uncomfortable or there's pressure, then they go through this uncertain space. They know they need to leave wherever they are, and they don't know where they are going. And then there's a different world that they inhabit, kind of goes from dark. It's a beautiful symbolism of the world, and we spoke about this last time, kind of this disconnect with the tribe clan concept, which holds such wisdom in this movement, where the community concept, for example, holds the follow the rules and live behind the white picket fence, and when you misbehave, then you drink this pill, and if you can't remember, then you drink that pill or whatever it is. Um, but yet, we come back to taking chances in embracing uncertainty, and by that we grow. Only by that we grow.
And to recognize that what we call home
Mm,
is in here.
yeah,
It's not in your belongings, it's not in all your stuff. Like I said, the quote came by becoming less, we become more. And there's many ways to look at that. But by
yeah,
becoming less of the external, we become more of the internal, more of who we are, and
mm,
embracing that growth inside us and that exploration. Like, you said how this year is a huge year of transformation, for us in our
yeah,
astrological charts, but embracing it, going, okay, this is good, going to be maybe a shit show, but let's see what's going on here because
yeah.
I'm curious about it. And I look at this and it's how I work with clients is who do you become on the inside? What is your new normal?
Mm,
And to remember the journey, because when you have these journeys of maybe you're a shy person or growing up, but over time you learn to speak it. Now you're helping others that were shy and maybe being bullied. Your new normal is a place of sanctuary for someone else in your field of expertise.
yeah,
I was been there. I've done this. Now I can do this because I feel confident in myself. And my stages going through my early days of employment, where I was able to learn just to speak to groups and things like that. And was I terrified? Absolutely.
yeah,
But I was willing to step into that and trust myself that like that wasn't like I was going to become this great speaker, but trust myself that I was there to learn, to be the best that
yeah.
I could be, and knowing at that time I was not being judged. I was
Yeah,
being
and that's a
received.
big element of it as well. Um, there is, well, my husband and I have kind of decided not to say this phrase too much when we're in difficult situations. But, in life, if we see ourselves as eternal beings, which, I mean, we are energy, so it makes sense that we are these eternal, whatever we want to call it. But then what is the worst that can happen? If we see, this as a journey, then, there isn't
Mhm.
anything that is too bad for us to handle or too,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
What is the worst that can happen? Nothing really. We
Yeah.
can transition in different spaces or different ways, whether it's physical or spiritual or,
Hmm.
psychological or whatever. But if we can trust that there is a soul's journey, and by allowing and trusting our own senses, our own body, we're also kind of looking at the solar plexus around this month and this theme of trust. We know when things are, we have this built-in sense of intuition, of even instinct. I mean, I've had many conversations at the difference between intuition and instinct. But there's an element of trust in there, in that we know we just need to not rely on the external, not think that whoever, the government or the school or the doctor or the whoever, necessarily knows better or has our interest at heart. We have our interest at heart, and we have this built-in meter, or I don't know, signal post
Mm.
thing that we've been separated from. We've been conditioned to. Uh, I need to learn. I need help. I need other people to show me, which I don't think is necessarily in our best interest.
And where we move to this is learning to trust ourselves.
Mm.
And the key point is to do for ourselves.
Yeah,
We're not looking to have some, I mean, we're sort of conditioned to take this pill, it'll do it for you, so you don't have to just sit back and relax. And I would sooner do it for myself because I want to learn how it works.
yeah,
I want to make the mistakes of learning because that's a part of the four stages of competence as well. So I'm not willing to have someone do things for me and sense show me, and then I'll do it. Because then
yeah.
I'm taking action. I'm creating the energy of myself to learn, to understand it, and empowering. And the key point, I'm empowering myself by taking this action.
Mm.
And with that learning is I now have a resource that I can take and do something else with and empower myself because in all of it, I'm having a lot of fun.
And that's such an important part of it because that's how we learn, isn't it?
Yeah,
Through
yeah,
having fun. I mean,
yeah.
we're all just big children at heart, really. That's how we learn by, yeah, by enjoying
It's,
it and by expressing ourselves.
I laughed I've bowled maybe a dozen times in my life. The first five ball I ever threw down the alleyway, I got a strike. The first 10 pin I ever,
Yeah.
threw down the alley, I got a strike. And then after that, they've been few and far between.
Yeah.
So it's
But see, there was no expectation in the first one. And then
lots of gutter
suddenly you had
balls.
exactly.
But that's life. That's life to do things. Well, what if I'm no good at it?
Yeah.
Of course.
But how
Never
would you
mind
know
this,
if you don't try?
but never
Yeah.
mind these 10,000 hours of mastery. I mean, like it just for crime, just do the damn thing,
Yeah.
and have fun doing it. Like, it's
Yeah.
uh, life is here. We're here to experience life
Mm.
and create experiences, good, bad, or indifferent. We're here to walk in woods. We're here to have conversations. We're here to have, like when you're young, trying to ask somebody out to bumble and stumble and you laugh at yourself years later,
Yeah.
to try and or to give a speech and at the point nowadays, who cares? Because most people aren't even listening to you anyway. They're on their phone, so
Yeah,
it's
if you
it's
don't
like
make it short enough or
like
yeah.
go create an experience. I mean, we go to our favorite coffee shop. Oftentimes, you end up joining somebody at a table. Can we sit down? Or
Yeah.
somebody says something behind you. You end up in a bit of a conversation, or usually where you're from, how long you've been here. But it opens doors
Hmm.
to some familiarity and in some ways of creating a connection. Next day
Yeah.
you walk by, hi, how are you? Nice to see you.
Yeah.
It's just it's this is life. This is
Yeah.
who we are.
Yeah.
So get over yourself, damn it.
Exactly. Richard, thank you. I think we're gonna swap over to a time sweep. Yes, trust,
Sure.
enjoy,
Yep.
trust the process, trust the journey,
Mhm.
trust yourself, I think is the most important bit that I take from this conversation. So thank you.